You don't find out who the best teammates are when champagne is dripping off your ceiling. Find out who the best teammates are when the times are tough, and you are the best teammate I've ever had.
Guys, it's official. I think I'm finally feeling better.
What the hell?
Wait.
Good. It's amazing.
Nah, it's gone.
What the hell has come over me? What the hell?
All that matters is the mug.
Am I too freakazoid on you today or what?
But if you tell me to tone it down, I'm just gonna turn the right the fuck up.
The minions eating a bird.
Yeah, dude, you were the one that was losing it too. I just took out my headphones and everything. No. Boom. Just headphoning it.
Oh, dude, I gotta pull up this fucking document. What the fuck is it called?
Okay, I have to.
Is it hot there? It's 90-something degrees here.
Boiling. And then it rains, it cools down, and it boils again. Fridge isn't working properly. Hey.
What's up, Nate?
Hey, Nate.
Hear me okay?
Yeah.
Amazing.
We're testing out some new software, so we don't know if it's going to work. We'll find out.
I've had an interview once before where they used Riverside and it worked quite well. So.
Oh, really? Okay, good.
Yeah.
You missed all the yelling at the computer that they're
Well, that's the thing, right? Is that I've never had to use it, so maybe it's different to use than to be, I don't know. Yeah.
Anyway, Nate, you haven't met Mateo. Mateo's one of the co-founders of Weekends.
Nice to meet you, Mateo.
To meet you.
And Mateo, you know about Nate.
Yeah.
Nate, you're one of the owners, or you're the owner of Winthrow?
I'm the owner. Yeah.
The owner. Anyway, Mateo, Nate knows this story, but I guess mine and Nate's early conversations, my email was autocorrecting Winthrow to like Windler or something like that. And Nate's like, dude, that's just not the name of the company, man. Anyway,
I was
Nate,
like, who's Windler?
I don't know. It happened twice. I don't know how my email was doing it. I don't know who Windler is.
You're in the cabin.
I am in a cabin.
Looks nice wherever you are.
I'm up in Topanga. Do you know where Topanga Canyon is?
Mateo, where are you based?
I'm in Aspen.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So, been here for like a year and a bit. Moved out of LA with my wife, so it's been was super necessary. You're in Seattle, right?
I am. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been to Aspen?
No, I've been to Colorado a fair bit, but mostly, Boulder, Denver, that surrounding area. I've not been to Aspen before.
Yeah.
I hear it's beautiful though.
Yeah. It's. I mean, it is great. It's just it's turning into the stereotype,
Yeah, that's what I hear. Yeah, it's like Aspen, Santa Fe, all these places are kind of becoming Ralph Lauren ads, but
yeah. I mean, it is beautiful, and you can really get out of it, So you're in the Rockies, and you walk around town and you're seeing everything but what Aspen used to be.
I'm sure. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Am I any better?
Yeah.
Nate, I'm in Topanga Canyon, just in LA.
Hence the service,
It doesn't really feel like LA, which is nice.
No, yeah, Topanga's awesome. I've been there a lot. So yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway, I hope my past transgressions about calling Winthrow Windler can be forgiven at some point.
You're okay. Hopefully I didn't come off too terse. I think I was in the.
No.
Lately, I've been getting a lot of emails, constantly.
Yeah,
so it's like you get a little hardened sometimes, Don't mean to be. But no, it's been super cool to meet you guys and get to know you and work together. So happy to have this conversation.
Thanks, man. I think it is odd that two outdoor companies are doing a virtual conversation in front of our computers, but nevertheless, we're here with.
That's the modern world we live in.
Yeah,
this wouldn't be possible otherwise.
Exactly. We're here with the owner of Winthrow, Nate. It's good to chat, man. Just to check in, what's the current vibe up in Seattle?
Well, currently we're packing orders. So a little bit of noise around me. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, things are good. We're in the middle of summer. It's a classic. I mean, hotter than every year. It gets a little bit hotter, but more or less a classic Seattle summer where it's sunny and 80 degrees every day for like 3 months straight before the rain comes back. So yeah, vibes are decent, I'd say.
Okay, cool. And you know Gene, obviously one of the other co-founders of Weekends.
Of course.
Patch Supply. It sounds like you guys have a long relationship. He was.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, Gene. Gene obviously works with some of the brands that we carry, and I think that we were in communication like at the very, very early stages of Windthro's history. So going back to 2023, which is not that long ago, but I feel like in small retail world, it's like a lifetime ago. So I have definitely been familiar with Gene and Lillian since day one, I'd say, for sure.
Can you take us back to the 2023 and why did you start Winthrow? And I guess more importantly, was there like a piece of gear that convinced you Seattle in particular needed Winthrow?
Ooh, I don't know if there's a specific piece of gear. I think that, my background individually has been both in like outdoor and fashion retail respectively for a pretty considerable amount of time. I went to Parsons for fashion stuff in grad school, but I've also grew up on the West Coast, family of endurance athletes. I myself have been an endurance athlete for a good chunk of my life. And then, of course, 2016 or so, brands like Satisfy, Distribution are in the scene. I was familiar with more historical brands like Cottermoose and whatnot, just having an idea around these things. But I was pretty young then, and so it kind of was just, wasn't really going to actualize it in anything. But I think anybody that starts a store, I had an idea for quite some time, just kind of quietly within my own mind. And then, around, it all happened quite fast, honestly, around 2020, late 2022, I'd say. I had the idea and I, had moved back to Seattle after being in grad school in New York. And I thought, how interesting would it be? I was seeing all these brands like Goldwyn and Satisfy and, et cetera, being merchandised as they've gotten more popular, being merchandised in these really sleek kind of, very fashion-like environments, which is cool. But I thought, how cool would it be if these products were carried in a place like a historical outdoor hub like Seattle that isn't obviously known for design or culture for that matter, and merchandised in like kind of like a very gear shop kind of way that I would have grown up going to with my family, and how interesting would it be if we applied all these contemporary fashion kind of branding principles and editorial principles to a place like Seattle that isn't really known for that, and how interesting would it be to shoot everything here and make it like a new aesthetic vision for the place, and kind of reclaim some of that really cool outdoor legacy that's obviously not really part of the contemporary discussion very much. So everything kind of happened pretty quickly, and I figured, well, shit, if all else fails with all this kind of more fashiony stuff, at least I'm in Seattle and people will still want the food and the fuel and the replacement tent stakes. But it turns out everyone loves the clothes, so it worked out nicely. Yeah.
Yeah, I have an opinion that people don't remember products; they remember moments. What do you think makes someone remember a physical space?
Yeah, I think I don't know. Everyone's different, obviously. I think like myself personally, the spaces I really looked up to or really felt them when I thought about the places. I mean, I can't say, to be honest with you, I gave it an incredible amount of thought as to what it was going to. I knew the space was going to be crowded and crazy because in my previous jobs, that's how I'd learned to merchandise, just like as much product on the floor as humanly possible. And I knew that was just my tendency, it was going to happen. But when I thought about, stores and whatnot that I really liked being in, they're usually a really high tier, high caliber of product in a pretty DIY space. And I think back to the old Pilgrim, right? In Williamsburg, that was like really cluttered and crazy. Friends of mine have a store in Vancouver called Ulterior. It's incredibly cool. And they have a new space now, but it still has that kind of DIY feeling to it. These are environments that I feel most comfortable in. Obviously, I love a beautiful boutique or showroom. That's all cool. And I can't say I don't get a little jealous when I walk into really, really sleek ones that we just aren't even close to. But I'm comforted by the fact that everybody that walks through the door whether they're, a grizzled kind of fashion professional or a guy off the street who's just looking for some gear for the weekend, always talks about how fun the store feels. So I really wanted the store to feel, like you said, memorable and have that moment of discovery happen. We're not super hard to reach necessarily, but we're not really on the main street either. We're a little bit out of the way, a little bit. So there's always that sense of discovery when you walk through the door. You have to go through a weird courtyard. We're kind of in a weird 80s strip mall building that's 2 stories. It's kind of funky for Seattle. It's not very typical. And so when you enter Windthrow and you haven't been there before, hopefully there's that sense of discovery, and there's so much product in the store that hopefully you can walk around and find something you really like. And just basically, have that moment of kind of I don't know, of excitement and kind of that search that you feel, as opposed to walking into a really beautiful space that maybe only has a couple products.
Yeah. Is that why you think people are still traveling to stores when everything is online?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I think that, it's funny. Yeah. If I feel like if Instagram or Substack is to be believed, there's never been a better time to open a physical store. I feel like media's gotten obsessed with talking about physical stores again, which is appreciated. Super cool. Even the New York Times did a list that they included us on, which was appreciated. So I think people are obviously really hungry for physical locations, I guess. At least it seems that way from all the new stores that are opening up all the time. I think that even us having a shop phone, it's not super common, I think, with modern stores, but I've always wanted to have, even if that can be a little tedious, I've always been that person who'd rather talk to a human being. So, it's nice to have that. But anyway, I think that to your point about maybe demand for visiting physical spaces is definitely there. But I think that, yes, you have to make it really memorable, because it's more so about visiting a physical space that's as interesting and not your work or your house, or another cafe. So I think that is, that's mandatory for a store nowadays, is to feel, memorable or cool in some way, and be a place that people can hang out at, beyond buying something, which isn't necessarily great for the bottom line. People hanging out on my couch doesn't necessarily pay my rent, but I always want to have that environment for them, because I think that that's what people are looking for, when in any kind of retail location.
And the brands are obviously looking for community as well. Are they reaching out to Winthrow as a place?
Of course, because that's what they don't have in DTC, right? I mean, they're definitely looking for a place that can kind of, showcase their product in a unique and maybe hyper local way. And so, stores can obviously provide that in a way that a website never really could.
Especially in the outdoors, right? At least for me, when buying any specific gear, I want to see it in the physical world, right? It's kind of, maybe even the more kind of, the less technical one, like the running shoes, or the I want to see it,
Sorry guys, oh my god, I'm not going to answer that. It's spam. I agree with you. I think also having that expertise that is provided by having, I don't know, I think with outdoor gear specifically, it's extremely expertise driven. We're pretty nerdy here. We don't carry like mountaineering boots or things that are highly technical like that necessarily, but we still can lend, I spend a lot of my time trail running, almost every day of the week, and I can provide you with really hands-on expertise around a pair of shoes that maybe you can get online. Maybe you can read some Reddit diatribe from some guy, but it's not the same, So totally.
Yeah. In the same way that, AI giving you the answer of, what you should buy is not the same. And I feel like,
of course,
culturally, we're constantly in this push pull, and the outdoor culture right now is really interesting because it sort of straddles. Like, we go through this hyper technical phase as a culture, and then we have this organic, like, we want to feel back, connected to our roots in a way.
Yeah.
There's this push pull in culture. And now with outdoor culture, in my opinion, it's sort of like this synthesis of two. It's this hyper technical, but then there's still like this grounded to the outdoors or to nature. And you have this synthesis of those two antitheses, which I think is really interesting culturally. And I think it touches to like why people are, going outside a lot more than they used to pre-COVID. Is sort of that wanting to feel connected, but also still feeling convenience at the same time.
Totally. Yeah. And I think obviously also gear's gotten so much better too. in a sense of like you can it's amazing. You can be, you can bring a jacket that folds up to the size of my palm that'll keep you dry. I mean, that's incredible. And like, obviously makes going outside in inclement weather or, unpredictable weather a lot more fun. And yeah, there's the textile, innovations, and also even just like not necessarily a fit innovation, but just applying more kind of contemporary or kind of, I don't know, you could say like, more, I don't know, more versatile fits to traditional outdoor clothes. Makes it fit more people, makes it look better. People feel better when they're wearing it. They're going to want to go outside more because the jacket looks nice on them. They don't feel like, the stuffed sausage. I mean, these are all things that are beneficial. So yeah, for sure.
So are you of the opinion that outdoor culture has become more creative?
Ooh, I don't know if I'd say that. I think that is not true. I think that you have more capital C creatives trademark logo at the end of it participating in outdoor. I do not think outdoor gear is more creative. I think when you look at things like early Thermarest or MSR, these are like ex-Boeing engineers who just designed the iconic products because they were bored or unemployed, and they went and shot them in really cool, interesting ways, having no experience whatsoever with being on set or knowing what a strobe is or any of that shit. They just were like, oh yeah, let's go out to the Cascades and shoot pictures of air mattresses on the ground. That's cool, if you look at, that's why there's so much obsession over old outdoor ads. They're significantly more creative than what we have nowadays. So I think that you have more creatives, self-styled creatives participating in the outdoors and making content. I don't necessarily think the outdoors is more creative. There's more voices, sure, but it's always been a creative space. And at its best, it's a space for mavericks and outsiders who don't necessarily fit in with the contemporary typical culture. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, honestly.
Mateo?
Do I agree with that?
Yeah.
Well, I think I agree with Nate. I think the outdoors has always been creative, or a space for creatives. I think that right now with as Nate said, creatives with a capital C trademarked, and more of those in that space, I do think that it lends itself to kind of appearing, more, I guess, trendy.
Sure. Yeah.
I wouldn't say that it's more creative now than it was before. I mean, I look at brands like, the new running brands like the Satisfies, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know, like it's very interesting to see a brand, and we can talk about, the price points at another time, but like, you see brands that are so technical, but also incredibly, I guess, trendy. And I don't know if that is something that has always been the case.
Yeah, that part's definitely novel. I feel like, the bringing that fashion expertise into the outdoors is definitely novel. And I mean, good. Obviously, I own a store that sells a lot of that stuff, so I'm not opposed to it at all necessarily. Especially if you can back it up, that's always great.
And do you? Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. Like, I feel like, I mean, there have been a lot of brands that kind of follow brands like Satisfy,
yes.
But I really think, like, I know that a lot of people complain about the price points of Satisfy, or are they making it too far or too inaccessible, right, for the outdoor community? But I do think what they've done in terms of blending, the more fashion side with the technical side is very, very interesting. And it's net.
Yeah, I think undeniably. I mean, yeah, I think also, like, I mean, the fabrics are insane and the treatments are crazy. I mean, having like a garment dyed Italian ripstop shell with a crazy like synthetic silk liner, that's nuts. Like, you're not getting that at Super Jock and Jill or Fleet Feet. It's just different, as a different category. And I think that, I think like one of the guys here was telling me the other day, is like, nobody told you have to buy it. If you don't like the price point, it's fine. It's not a big deal, whatever. Yeah. I mean, the same way that but also it's, core outdoor products are also getting more expensive. So I have a hard time with that argument, because a full suspension mountain bike now is 10 grand, or more. a mountain bike was $3,000 when I started being serious about bike racing, which was, a while ago now, but not that crazy. So it's not as the products that every product in every aspect of our lives has become more luxurious and more expensive as these brands are chasing kind of, higher and higher caliber of customer because they want to make more money and, do less volume or whatever. And that luxury tier is what excites people. So it's not like Satisfy's out here or Distribution or whatever is out here on some island by themselves, injecting the evil fashion into it's like the core outdoor brands are also becoming more expensive. It's insane. Dudes are pulling up to the ski hill with the Rivian and the stupid Solo stove and the, crazy pair of Armada skis. And they're rolling around in, $250,000 worth of gear and they don't look cool at all. So it's like, I don't know.
I will say the Satisfies of the world, like the best thing that they've done is they've inspired a whole group of new independent brands. And to me, that's the most important thing that they've done. Obviously the fabrics that they've created, all the innovation, but to me, it's about the inspiration of all these upstart running brands and outdoor brands. And Satisfy's majorly influential in a lot of those entrepreneurs that have started those brands.
Yeah. I mean, and also like, yeah, they single-handedly changed what running looks like, for a huge amount of people. That's an incredible accomplishment. We've always sold their products here and we like them a lot. And yeah, I mean, it just is, they've been around a long time. Like I was saying at the beginning of the conversation, there's a lot of these brands that people think are brand new that have been around for 10 years now. So it just took people a long time to catch up to it. And I do think, Derek, to your point, COVID obviously kickstarted a lot of that. And then, in the last 3 years, it's really exploded right around the timing with the store, which is nice, but crazy to watch. I mean, yeah, there's a new brand in this space every week, it feels like. And we get an email from somebody every week that's brand new and doing stuff. And it's interesting. It's also a little, I wouldn't say scary, but definitely a little bit, you have to be really cautious because I think, I've lived through a couple of these trend cycles, obviously. I remember when there was a new, fixed gear messenger bag company every day of the week, 15 or so years ago. And then now they're all gone. So there was a new, there's a new skater-owned skate shoe brand all the time. And now those are all gone. It's I guess they're kind of coming back now a little bit with some brands, but, you have to really be diligent about what you bring into the store because the product has to be somewhat novel, somewhat unique, it has to be something that they offer because, these trend cycles are so intense and so fast that you have to really kind of make sure that things you have staying power. Because obviously people will stop running at some point. People will stop doing all these things that we're talking about.
Nate, will they stop running? Because I think that, it's...
to your point, I think like obviously you have the original running booms in the 60s or whatever. And then, running never really went away after that, obviously. But I do think that we'll have an adjustment at some point for sure. I mean, I think that, this participation in marathons and ultras might be here to stay, but I think the run club stuff will obviously adjust itself. And, that hyper social stuff where it's really, you're so much on display and the big reason for attending them for a lot of people is to be on display. When it becomes, cringe or untrendy to do that, those people will inherently leave the sport or they'll do calisthenics in the park instead or whatever they'll do next, chess club. I don't know, they'll find something else to go do. But yes, of course, running's popularity will never recede. It'll grow, but I think we will get an adjustment, a correction, because it's happened with cycling, which is a sport that I was really involved in when I was younger. It's happened with cycling a bunch of times. You had the post-fixie boom, you have every bike boom, and it does adjust. It really is it definitely has dramatic swings in either direction. So running's obviously an easier sport to participate in financially, but I still expect something similar to happen.
Yeah.
Yep. If you could, go ahead, Mateo.
What do you think of how has the post-COVID boom, do you think, affected, I guess, your store or the outdoors in general? I think it's an obvious question, right? But is it as acute, I guess, as what people say it is, right? People are like, okay, COVID happened, it ended. Now everyone wants to go outside. Do you think that's the case?
I guess. I mean, I don't know. I think we haven't even gotten far enough away from it. It's still such recent history. I mean, from my perspective, my store started post-COVID, obviously. So even if I followed some of these brands before all that, it's, Winthrow is a fairly new store, only 3 years old now. So I haven't been able to chart that, just from my driver's seat because I wasn't really in the driver's seat, in 2019. I do think as a casual observer, I think that it still is very recent history. And it's hard to really necessarily chart if that's exactly why it is. I think I always had a weird time even kind of thinking about everyone going outside in COVID. Like as if, I mean, it was visibly more popular. Trails were, and you could definitely see everybody out there a little more than they used to be. But it still just didn't, I don't know, it doesn't feel like a good enough explanation for me, but maybe it is. Maybe that's really all it took for people. It's hard for me to kind of get in their shoes, I guess, because so much of my childhood and adolescence and adulthood has been spent being on hikes or being outside, just as how I was raised and, my family and whatnot. And so it's hard to think of getting into it afterwards. But especially living on the West Coast, I feel like people have always kind of been outside here. But yeah, I mean, I think this is a bit of a loose. I'm kind of taking a stab at a dark here. I'm formulating this as I go, so bear with me. But I think that maybe in cities like New York, for example, where obviously people were not really going outside as much, I think that yes, there is a desire to get outside and to be away from the intensity and the chaos of the city in the depths of COVID. But what I really think it is it's more so people post COVID desperate to see each other, desperate to hang out to each other. Obviously, you had a brief kind of reemergence of clubs and parties, but even those, people I know that run venues, they said it was really fun for a year there, and it's been trickling downward ever since. So it's more so people desperate to find ways to connect with each other, but they feel guilty or shame or some reason about doing that in a bar or a club. So that's why you have all these hike clubs. You have, chess clubs. You have knitting clubs. I mean, every day the New York Times is talking about some other club people are doing that's not being at the club, And so I think that maybe in places like Aspen or Seattle or even Los Angeles, okay, people have been going outside hiking forever. I mean, whatever. It's maybe more people are doing it now, but it's not a personality. It's not a novel concept. But maybe in somewhere like New York, going up the Hudson Valley to go backpack with people at Bear Mountain, then that you all live in Bed-Stuy, that was probably not. I mean, that was hard. I mean, even when I lived there before COVID, that was not common. And now it seems like it's quite common, at least from my vantage point. So I think it's more so to do with socialization and kind of, showing people that you're doing, this is maybe me being a little cynical, but showing people that you're doing things that are constructive and less so about, shit, I need to get away from human beings because it's COVID. I don't know. We're so far away from it now that I feel like that's the enduring appeal of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. I mean, I go back and forth on this all the time. It's like, is it everything that you just mentioned, or is it just that people are realizing that the outdoors is really fun,
Of course it's fun. Yeah, I just, I agree. Just the idea of like a 23-year-old being really excited about a hike club to me, that just, it's got to be for social reasons. You're just at that age, that's what it's about. So there's got to be something else happening there. But yeah, I mean, obviously it is fun. It's cool. And I think it's great. I mean, super cool. Like, people being healthier, being outside more is not a bad thing. I would not say that, but, I think the kind of the standard explanation for these things about, oh, well, people, are just, trying to get away from civilization. I'm like, I don't know if that really holds water, because people are moving into places like New York more than ever before. So clearly they want to be around a lot of people, but they just want to be doing different things while they're around a lot of those people.
Yeah, I do think it's a lot more nuanced than just blaming COVID for, being the impetus of all this. I do think COVID sort of moved the needle or expedited things. But I think you have to remember, like, pre-COVID, there was a couple of year stretch where streetwear and urbanization and hyper-technical sort of, even like the metaverse was like a big thing then, right? Which is so silly. But like, I think people were just over that. And COVID, people were just over being in front of their computers and working all day and then getting let go by their company. And I think people wanted to feel connected and they want to feel healthy if they're going to, live in the city.
That's fair.
So I think it's a lot more than just, COVID. I think it's a reversing of course from in part streetwear, in part the metaverse, those types of cultures where people felt a little bit like this is everything. I think they realize there's a lot more to life than what they had in front of them.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. We don't need to belabor the point, but I would also maybe think that people are probably in front of screens more than they ever have been. In some ways, it's more about, okay, well, like my end of the month photo dump should have like 3 pictures of like a field or something like that, so I can show people I have a nuanced life. I mean, not to be super cynical here, but I am a deeply cynical person, so I feel like I have a little bit of a hard time with this rationale, because it just is like, I just don't see that being. I think people are more online than they've ever been before. They're just unlike pre-COVID, where like, everything you did. I mean, if you look at my Instagram story from 2018, everything I did during the day is on that story. It's insane how much I talk about whatever I'm doing, but it's not very manicured. It's no consideration whatsoever. Now it is, obviously hyper considered, but made to look like it's not considered. And
I think it's precisely that. I think people are in front of their computers so much, and we all have this anxiety of automated future where we're removed from the workforce. So I think a lot of the outdoor world, people are entering the outdoor world because of that anxiety of whatever the human future.
Totally. Yeah, I think that's a very fair point. Yeah, totally.
So if you could invest in only one of these over the next decade, which would you choose? Either a flagship store or another Winthrow, or just reinvesting in the current one, or social media? Which would you choose?
Geez. Oh, wow. Definitely the first option. If my background is anything to be believed, we ran out. I would love some more space. I think that'd be cool. I also think that, per the beginning of our discussion here, like the physical location is what sets it apart. And also I think that, if done right, ideally you can amass a pretty decent social media following just through being yourself and not spending a lot of money on it. I think that, there's times when I wish I had a little more, maybe somebody on the team who had a lot of expertise with certain things. But I think if nothing else, I think if especially evidenced by the kind of content that goes crazy these days, it's like the most low budget shit imaginable. It's like a video of a zipper going up on a jacket, that's, a shimmering bag in the sun. That takes $0 and 0 cents basically. I think that the physical space is also always what people are most attracted to, especially on social media. Just photos of any kind of store is what people are excited to see. So I think, if I had the funds to reinvest in this place, or to open a second location, of course I would do it. That'd be great.
Cool. All right, we're gonna do some. This is our first Weekends podcast episode, but we're gonna call this.
I'm glad to break it in. Sorry for all the background noise, but
no, you're good. We're going to call this the Weekend Signature segment, even though it's the first podcast. So first of many, I hope. Yeah. Weekend's ritual. What is one thing Nate never misses on a great weekend?
Ooh. Well, my weekends are kind of all over the place. I'm kind of like working every day and also not working every day. I'm in and out of the store all day. But I'd say let's say I have like a back-to-back weekend, ideally I'd go for a nice long run, something like a 18 or 20 mile run. And I would try to get some quality time in with family and friends, somewhere in town. It doesn't just have to be anywhere exotic. Just to feel like a normal person for one day would be nice, to go like get dinner, somewhere is, very simple things, but things where I'm basically not having to be in the store all the time. Those are things I try to never miss if I get the opportunity.
Okay, weekend's wild card. What would people be surprised to find Nate doing on a Saturday?
Ooh, surprised. Well, they're surprised I'm not in the store a lot of times. Oh, who's watching the store? As if I'm the only person who works here. Otherwise, surprised. Well, it's funny. Yeah. I don't know. It's funny. Sometimes when people see, like, I've posted a story of like something in my house or something like that, and people respond being like, "Oh, I thought you lived in a tent," or something. Something of the sort. So maybe it's just me doing something in an urban environment. People think I like live in a tree, but I actually live like in downtown Seattle. But I get out to those trees pretty often. But yeah, I do not live in a tree fort. So maybe they're surprised to see me doing anything that involves concrete. Yeah, or yeah, something like that.
Can you give us specific local recommendations for Seattle? Coffee, train, any
Yeah, of
restaurants,
course.
anything
I
like
mean,
that?
that's my favorite thing to do, honestly. I love when people ask when they come in, especially if they're from a place like LA or New York or, a bigger, obviously more cultured city. I think Seattle's a really easy place to do wrong. You can even like a place like Portland or Vancouver, I think is more like immediately, you know, identifiably cool, quote unquote, cool things on the street or whatever. And Seattle, you have to scratch a little bit more to find it. But the stuff that we have that is awesome is cool. We have a bunch of great cafes here. A cafe called URL is really great. And Daymade is also fantastic, owned by our friend. And then Analog's a staple. Everyone in town loves that spot. Our good friends own a wine bar called Otherworld. They do events in it all the time. Really fantastic. Yeah, we have a whole crop of really good restaurants here. But I think honestly, something that you can find all those cool places by poking around. But I honestly do encourage most people that visit, 99% of them, just to actually go to Pike's Place, which is, people. It's not. I always like to say it's full of tourists, but it's not a tourist trap. It's like people get their groceries there. It's one of the few like truly urban spaces in the city that's like very bustling and alive. And every time I've lived here for cumulatively a decade now, and every time I go back, I still find something new there. A stall I didn't know about in one of the sides of the street. So yeah, Pike Place is it's crazy. It's a weird tangle of businesses and things that very hard to find on the West Coast. It's very dense, not very typical for this neck of the woods. So yeah,
Right.
I always recommend people go there.
Cool. We fielded some audience questions. So I'm going to go to the audience for,
Oh, wow. Crazy. Cool.
I think we've got like 2 or 3 that we could afford ourselves here. Favorite emerging outdoor brand?
Ooh, that's a great question. Emerging. What defines emerging? You can hear all the dogs barking above me. We're below a doggy like cleaning salon.
Really?
And on Thursdays, there's this one dog who comes here every other Thursday. It's the same dog. So his owner just like it's a poodle, and it is like seriously, it is awful to listen to. It is having a hard. It hates being bathed, which obviously the owner doesn't give a shit. So anyway, I get to care about it, but so that's what you're hearing. That's looking at the inside of how Winthrow operates. We do have that above us, unfortunately. Okay, emerging outdoor brand. It's tough. I mean, I think it's funny. Things that you would think are emerging, maybe are emerging to one demographic, are like self-evident to other ones. Like we're one of the first stores to stock Portal out of the UK, Vancouver, Oslo. They're friends of mine. I really like all those guys. I think their product is amazing. It is only a couple years old, so it's emerging by that standard. But I think a lot of people that listen to this podcast probably are very well aware of that brand. So it's kind of a funny question. It's kind of a funny thing for me to try to answer. To think about things that are emerging or not.
And you obviously know about brands before the general public too, because
yeah, I mean, literally a friend of mine is who put me in touch with John at Portal before they even hit the road. That was something that somebody I knew about before it even kind of ran into the scene. So and also with Instagram and whatnot, brands go from emerging to huge very, very quickly. Take Una as another great example. Obviously, kind of running focused, or very explicitly running focused, but they're fairly new and are quite the sensation. So I would, it's tough to basically name just one. Let me look here. I think if I were to. Portal is a good one to mention, but they're quite large at this point, obviously, or in terms of their popularity. Let me look at.
Just out of curiosity, are you familiar with? You probably are. Raid.
Oh yeah, for sure, of course, yeah.
You ever? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
They do like schemo stuff, like scheme engineering stuff, right? Like for the during the
Kyle's
winter.
Definitely. I feel like Kyle's background is in that. If I'm remembering correctly, yeah, we've carried Raid for some time, and I have a good friend who works there. And I think Kyle started with ski touring, ski mountaineering, and then did the trail belt, and is now doing a lot of trail apparel. So that's another emerging brand. I mean, again, it's funny. They were something that came to mind actually, Derek, when you asked the question. But I don't even know I call them emerging anymore either, because they're freaking huge. These are obviously a small company, just like Portal. I mean, very small in terms of, team size, but impact is already huge, and they're already quite popular. So yeah, I mean, or take another example. Another great example is Nur, a brand that we are the very first store to stock them. They're from Portland. I mean, they're they are like I mean, not everywhere because they kept distribution so small, but they're just they're on the tip of everybody's tongue. I mean, I think every mood board everywhere features some work from them. So they're emerging, compared to Nike. But I think that they're probably pretty well known quantity at this point. Yeah. Sorry, Mateo, if I interrupted you. I don't know if you.
No, no, I'm saying like I mean like maybe I'm a little late to the trend, but I think Schemo is gonna blow up, and the brands around
Yeah,
Schemo.
I mean, especially where you and I live, right? Like, I mean, here in Western Washington, I mean, ski mountaineering, alpinism. That's why people live here. I mean, it's our access to really steep peaks is, and I mean, I'm always shocked by like the most normal looking people coming through the store who are like, oh yeah, I just summited and skied down Baker. I'm like, really? Like you look like my English teacher from middle school. But it's normal here. It's normal behavior. I don't honestly do a lot of that. I mean, I like going up mountains on my 2 feet, but I'm not big into helmets and pulleys. But I did just do a bit of a trip with some friends up Shuckson, and I didn't go all the way up it with them. But it's super, super cool. I mean, and Kyle's gear is great for that, for sure, as in addition to a lot of other things. But that brand is definitely, I mean, rapidly emerging. Raid is definitely rapidly emerging. I would also say, there's there's maybe brands that maybe weren't necessarily in the outdoor space initially, like Demon from Milan, who are now starting to make more and more. Obviously, Alberto's family's background is in making mountaineering boots in Italy way back in the 60s or whatever, but now they're starting to get back into that kind of outdoor stuff again. And so, Demon's been around for a while, always had a bit of that outdoor heritage, but is now more explicitly focused on the outdoors. I think that's super cool, and fun to see. So that's always those things are emerging.
This
sorry,
next,
I don't want to. Sorry, go ahead.
The next
Go
audience, I just want to get through these audience questions so that we can ask.
Sorry, hopefully I answered that decently. That's a tough one.
There's no right or wrong answers here. Next audience question, and this, well, I won't say who it was, but let's see if you can figure it out. Favorite store that isn't Winthrow? And this wasn't Gene that asked this. So, okay, how about this? Favorite store that isn't Winthrow or Hatchet Supply or Weekends?
Okay, cool. Geez, that is a good one. Different than us, but Ulterior up in Vancouver is just so cool. I love what Cole and Dallas are doing, and I'm not the first to say it. I mean, they have quite the fan base up there. So really, really cool spot, and a lot of love for them, and what they're doing, which I think is awesome. Friends of mine run that store Knees Up over in London. They're obviously, I mean, they have had, what's cool about what they're doing is like, they had like the original social run club. I feel like, you're friendly runners for who knows, years, long time. And to sunset that and to then spin it into a functioning store that still is able to do a lot of really fun stuff is really cool to see. I think to keep it on the run topic, Distance in Paris, Copenhagen, Kenya, Lyon, wherever, but always an inspiration for us and what we're doing. I think it's just so cool to see their ability to effortlessly fuse brand initiatives with community in a way that doesn't feel super trite and corny, and obviously they carry maybe less product than we do, but it's still such a cool selection, and a really cool way to do. They're the granddaddy of a lot of this stuff now, in the whole running specific world. And then, to bring it back stateside, I mean, there's a, I don't know, they're kind of, I think they're changing right now, but there's a store in New York called Forecast, and they're maybe going to do something different in the future, but they're good friends too. And I think they have a really specific vision, and it's quite cool. So.
All right. The last audience question. What is the most underrated outdoor town?
underrated outdoor town. Interesting. That's it. You know, I'm going to have a nice little plug for my hometown, Sacramento, California, which I think is not necessarily no, actually, I would say it's highly underrated. I think I grew up with a crazy proximity to Tahoe, like, hour and change away. And then the Bay Area is an hour and change away. And then closer to town, you have the foothills, you have, you can go over to Lake Berryessa on the west side. It's just, it's I don't know. It's I think, especially if you're into riding bikes or into any kind of like endurance sport where you really want to do a lot of training and have a lot of time to be able to just kind of do volume and distance, it doesn't get much better than that, especially on the east side of town, closer to the foothills. It's the best. And there's a reason why, Western States in Auburn, which is only 30 or 40 minutes from Sac, is that it's the best place to trail run, great place to ride bikes, and super fun to snowboard and ski. I think it's a highly underrated. People think of it as a cow town, which it is, but I don't know. It's my cow town, so I think it's special.
I have one last question is, are you training? Are you training for anything right now or no?
Yeah, for sure. I have a 50-mile ultra in the Teanaway Forest, which is in the Central Cascades, east of here. It'll be in September, so it's going to be really hot and really dusty, and it'll be a miracle if we're not covered in forest fire smoke at that point. We'll see if we get lucky. It's been a dry winter and hot summer. And then I have a marathon after that in the winter, and maybe some other races sprinkled in between.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. I ran my first ultra last year. It's called the Power 4 here. You go up to 4.
How'd it go?
I'm happy with the result.
Awesome, man.
Like 6 hours 50, I think it was. I mean, it was basically 4 climbs. I mean, it was an amazing experience. Would I do it again? Yes, I think.
Yes, I
love running. I love running, and
Yeah,
the ultra. I don't know if I should cap it off at the marathon distance. The ultra distance is
even for me. I mean, I'm a fairly experienced, ultra. I've raced, a good crop of them. And even for me, at the end of every race, I'm like, would I do that one again? Yeah, kind of. It's like, it takes you a couple of days to be like, oh, actually, okay, yeah, screw it. I'll run that one back again. So
I want to explore the ones, like some international ones. I want to be out there. Maybe the ones.
I mean, yeah, me too. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, speaking about explosion of sports, I mean, to get into any of these UTMB races now is incredibly difficult. Yeah. This is a fairly obscure sport as of 5 or 6 years ago, and now it's very, very hard. And obviously, as going back to being from Northern California, I've always dreamed of racing Western States, and now, I mean, it's a pipe dream. I mean, maybe if I got super, super lucky or whatever, but yeah, it's gotten the progression in the sport is so intense that similar to road marathons, the qualifying stuff is almost impossible now for the mere mortal. Which is,
I've always wanted. I was like, because my dad's a runner too, and I was like, what, I'm gonna go do the Boston Marathon, and then like it seemed accessible for a while, but then it's like the training. I mean, it's like could you break 3? Yes, I think I could. Do I have the time to train for those like 5 months?
Well, and not get injured. I mean, that's the hardest part, I mean, especially I think that if you're, ultras is easier it's easier on your body almost, ironically, than a road marathon. I mean, training for road marathon is it's pretty bad for you in a lot of respects. Yeah. You're really beating the shit out of yourself.
Exactly.
Whereas, and I tell everybody can do an ultra. You're just, if you just want to walk it, anybody can. Human beings are meant to do that kind of insane. We're good at it. That's what makes us different as a species, is we can walk for an extremely long time, which is a beautiful thing. That's cool, man.
So we got, 5 more minutes. I want to get through rapid fire, fast 5. These questions are for either one of you. So I'm going to say one. Whoever answers the first one, the next person answers the next one. So it's one by one. One of you will answer 3 of them.
Oh, me as well?
Yep. So whoever answers this first one goes first. A trend you're really excited about.
Okay, screw it. I'll go first. I think the return. This is more aesthetic than business or anything like that. But it's the return of patterns and maybe even a little bit of color, not so much, but you're starting to see a lot of, brands using, they're still making maybe a high-tech soft shell, but it's in a plaid, or it features, some kind of interesting all over print pattern. I think that's very welcome after being in neutral hell here for the last 5 years. It's cool to see some patterns come back. So yeah, I'll say that.
Neutral hell is hilarious. Because
Okay.
you're right.
Mateo, most overhyped trend.
And the DJs at the coffee shop.
That is crazy, man. We got to just, as somebody who's been like, I've been in the nightlife and club scene for a long time and love DJing, we got to stop DJing. We just need to put it into this. It's too crazy.
They're going to be at the library soon, so.
Yeah. At Barnes and Nobles, yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Recent purchase that you love. Doesn't have to be outdoor gear.
Recent purchase that I loved. Ooh, my God. We just did a pop-up at a really rad kind of book and magazine store called Chess Club in Portland. And I went moderately crazy in there. I bought like 5 or 6 things, and I've been reading them, by the lake, and it's been awesome. Really, really cool stuff. So that's a purchase I've really enjoyed. Several purchases.
Mateo, favorite non-outdoor brand?
I feel like I have. I didn't. Oh, wow. I don't know. Nate, feel free to jump in here.
Favorite non-outdoor brand, huh?
Favorite
Does it have to relate to apparel specifically or anything? Or
anything?
I guess that's huge then. Okay, cool. Let me. Oh, geez.
I saw a brand at Whole Foods the other day. Like it was like I think.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, this is a sick concept.
I mean, shit. I love to see Paula Newman's little face on every Newman's Own thing I buy. I'm always like, dude, he's looking after me while I eat these fig Newmans. We gave it all away. Yeah, I don't know if Newman's Own could be my favorite non-outdoor brand. I have to think about that one a little bit, but
that's a good answer. It's definitely nostalgic. Reminds me of
strong brand, very strong. Paul Newman, he's a strong brand for sure.
Yeah, I remember his salad dressing being on a lot of my.
Oh yeah, my parents loved that.
Yeah,
and definitely lots of like completely spiceless Newman's Own salsa. That's what I was raised on. So.
Yeah. That's funny. All right, this one is for either one of you. Favorite weekend destination?
Beach. I love the beach and the water.
Yeah.
I've been getting into foiling. I don't know, the like surf foiling.
Yeah, sick.
And there's all these advances in the actual wing, right? The thing that gets you out on top of the water. And you can do these like long trajectories, right? From like, I mean, in Hawaii, they do them from island to island, or, I know they're doing it in San Francisco, in the Bay. But the equipment is getting so good that you can actually once you start foiling, you can really go for miles and miles and miles. And I'm still very new to the sport, but if you could give me a place or a location to be able to practice that for a weekend, I would pick that.
I like that.
What gives you the most optimism about where outdoor culture is heading?
Ooh. I do think, to kind of maybe contradict myself from earlier in the discussion here, I do think that having more points of view, and kind of people coming into the space with different viewpoints, whether it be, maybe more of a design or fashion background or, something totally different. I do think that is probably a net benefit for any of those things. And I think, again, it comes down to people, loving, just even guys from industrial design or people from industrial design backgrounds, working on, perfecting certain aspects of gear. I mean, there's just the more viewpoints that are in, the more, kind of diverse points of view that are within kind of the world of outdoor gear, whether that be, hardware or soft goods, is going to be a net benefit for everybody. So I do think that's a beneficial thing. I think that you can make a bit of a stink about, trails and mountains and everything being super packed out and, all over TikTok and hordes of people. And that is all real and definitely frustrating. But maybe there's a world, to be an optimist for once, maybe there's a world where that teaches more and more people about, conservation and the benefits of having, this beautiful planet that we live on. So that's me being an optimist for once. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Nate, thanks so much for your time.
David Bar. I like their branding. I like them as a brand. I think they're kind of outdoors, so I think I might. But I do like what they're doing with their design and their brand.
I have yet to taste one, but I've seen the packaging is unmistakable. You can see it everywhere for sure.
Anyway, Nate, really thanks a lot for your time. This was fun.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I hope I provided a good interview for you guys. Yeah.
You're the official first, Nate.
Well, that's an honor. I'm honored to be the first. Hopefully, again, the first of many for you guys, hopefully.
Next time, maybe we'll do it in an unrecorded setting, either up in Seattle or anywhere else we might see each other.
Sure. Yeah. Stop by anytime.
All right, man. Thanks again.
Cool. Take care, y'all. Bye.